Welcome to Not Nicole. I am Nicole, and this is episode 9 of my knitting and sewing podcast. Today I am wearing Nina. It is a pattern I test knit for Lisa Baniff about a year ago. It is knit in Expression Fiber Arts alpaca silk lace. So yes, it is knit at a lace weight US 1.5 and US 2, I believe is what's in my Ravelry notes. I did use about 100 and almost 150, so like 1.48. So the alpaca silk lace are 100 gram skeins, so I still have more than half a skein left. But you can't really see the detail, I think, in this variegated, but there is a purl stitch panel here. So it is knit in the round to begin until you get the shoulder increases completed, and then you knit flat until you get to the armhole depth, and then it's knit in the round again until the bottom. And then there's on the edge just a couple of rows of like 3 rows of ribbing, and then it's just like 5 rows of stockinette and bind off, so it has a rolled edge, and the stitches are picked up around the arm and knit a few and then just bound off so that it rolls. So it's a little warmer. I'd say probably low 70s is probably an ideal temperature to wear this. I mean, that alpaca is so warm. And you know, silk is an insulating fabric. So even though it's lace weight, it can be rather warm, but I thought it worked really well. Anyway, I love it. It's really pretty. I don't necessarily wear it as often as I could, just because it's warm. Very warm. All right. Today I'm drinking my Earl Grey Supreme from Gong Fu Tea in Des Moines. And then this mug, I love this mug. I love the shape of the mug. I think this is the one I was using in episode 8 as well. I picked it up at the Dixon County Wool and Sheep Festival in October of 2024. My husband and I had taken a trip out there and randomly found that yarn store. I did yarn from our trip to Colorado in 2025. So I bought a lot of yarn that trip, which is why I only went to 3 stores when we were in Colorado, because it's an issue. I can't leave a store without buying something. So today is June 24th that I'm recording this. I don't think I said that at the beginning. And then you can find me on Instagram at Nicole's_bubbles. I think I'm going to be changing that to Not Nicole, as well as I am Crazy Cali Clown on Ravelry, and I might be updating that as well, but links will be in the description below the video. And now let's hop into knitting projects. It's not been a good 2 weeks of knitting. It is not. We'll jump into this one. So this is the Attagirl that I am testing for Corey Eichelberger, Irocknits. And she has some other tests for things that have to be done sooner because they're collaborators or collaborations. So this one is on hold. So this is the one where I'd gotten very far in the body and then had to rip out because it was too big. So the sleeves are being done on a US 5, which is 3.75 millimeter. And then the body I was doing it on a US 3. Now I'm doing it on a US 2.5. I switched. I think my mesh needed to be tighter to get the 5.5 stitches in 4-inch. I mean, it's a yarn over every other stitch. Anyway, I don't know. So I'm doing that on a US 3 millimeter. So as you can imagine, that's just, it's hard on my hands, and having had to rip it out because there was a gauge listed in the test pattern for the mesh that was different than the stockinette and shouldn't have been there. Like, I've done a lot of test knits, and that just, I'm not inclined to be fast on this one. So that gets the least amount of work. Next that I'm going to talk about is my staple tank. I'm just going through these quickly because none of these are new. And my projects will be linked, so if you want to see details about the fibers that I'm using, they'll be in the project. So this is my staple tank. So I did go and add the ribbing, so you can see it lines very well. It's definitely still, even with the width, you still want to be wearing like a racer back bra, because they're rather narrow. And then that's where I am. So I actually ripped out about 4 inches after I had gotten the ribbing put on. I ripped out about 4 inches in the body. It had some weird bunching going on. And it's my first time actually knitting a garment in mostly cotton. And it could be significantly more negative ease than I'm knitting. So I had done some bust increases, and then I had knit 8 rows before starting the decreases. I went and ripped back, and I'm not doing the vertical bust starts, right, where you're creating space. I don't have significant difference. Like, my upper bust is like 7.5, my full bust is 8.5. There's not a significant difference in those two measurements, and not like an inch with something that is this stretchy, especially since there is elastic in one of the 2 yarns that I'm holding. And so I just started the decreases. So the decreases are interesting because you're only doing 2 decreases in a round. Or the way I'm doing it, either in the front or in the back. So I started with the front. So you just do an increase at either side, knit 2 rows, do the decrease in the back. So still going to be doing a significant number of decreases down to my waist. And though actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably recalculate it. I might be able to go 3 rows instead of 2 rows. Or instead of essentially doing a decrease every other row, do it on the 3rd row, at least for the first couple of inches, because it'll still be like that part of my bust. But it, like I said, there's some weird poofiness. I should have taken a photo that I'm trying to get out. And like, I love the first one I made, but honestly, I made it too big. And And so I really only wear it in the winter. That it's also 100% wool, and it's black. So I just, I don't wear it much in the summer, right? There again, it'd be great if I just want to keep my core warm, or like if I wanted to throw it on in an evening over a t-shirt. If it was a really cool night, would work really well. But wearing it on its own during the day, like my first one, it's too warm. And so hence why I'm knitting one in cotton. And then I'm thinking, like there's a silk linen blend that might be fun to knit that out of. There again, but it's negative ease, so it's a fine line between memory and whatnot. Anyway, there's a bunch of waffling. All right, next one I'm going to show is the sock in progress. So I actually took this to the movies last night, and then I had to rip out 5 rows on the way home because apparently I knit into a yarn over. And yeah, that happens. So I haven't put my markers in yet to mark 10 rows. Like I said, I had to knit, rip out 5 rows to remove a hole. Honestly, if it hadn't created a hole, I would have just gone with it and like done a random decrease. But there was a hole, so had to rip back. Meh. It was good. So yeah, we went to the movies last night. So I finished the ribbing and then 1 row of stockinette on our drive to Omaha on June 12th. And then I knit a fair amount of it when we were at my niece's husband's military retirement ceremony. And then we hung out at the base lake for a bit afterward, and so I was knitting. I just like to keep my hands busy, right? Because I can knit without looking at it. It's better to do it like if I take the occasional glance. It's like something feels weird, which something did feel weird, which is why I knew I had to inspect my knitting when I got to the car after the movie. But anyway, so this is just when I truly need mindless knitting, this leg of the sock. And I mean, I knit 80 rows of it. It's pretty long, so I know I have a ways to go. And so the yarn for this one is Little Squirrel Yarns in Moonlit Canyon. So just simple vanilla sock. All right, here's the not a good knitting week, or 2 weeks. And this is 100% my fault. 100% my fault. This is not a designer problem. This is 100% my fault. All right, I ended up ripping back to where I was almost practically, right? In the last podcast. That's why this guy's there. So this is the Waystone Pullover by Alicia Plummer that I am test knitting. And it is an Expression Fiber Arts Dewy DK. I'm loving this yarn. It's so soft, but maybe a bit too soft. I don't know if you can see kind of that fuzziness that it's developing. Not ideal. How much would it pill? I'm not sure. Anyway, the reason why this one is a fail and it's my fault, I went to do the back decreases and I had too many stitches after I was done with the decreases. I was like, what in the heck happened with this? And so I literally had to like place markers and counts around the body. Thankfully with the fisherman's rib, it's actually pretty easy to count and know, where you are. Sometimes in stockinette, it's easy to get lost in that field of just knit stitches. In fisherman's rib, it's pretty easy to count twos, and then, I place the marker every 20, so that if I got distracted, I had a way to go back. But yeah, I was supposed to have 194 stitches. I have 204. And I blocked it. And I'm at 46 inches. For the pattern that I'm knitting, I was supposed to be at 48 and a half. Well, 46 something. Here, on my cutting mat, what is it coming out to? Oh, actually, it's actually pretty close. It's actually pretty close. Laying flat on my cutting mat. Laying flat on my cutting mat, it's actually, yeah, no, it is, well, and then there's the height of it, right? So 46 and a half probably. So it's at 46 and a half. So it's 2 inches smaller than it's supposed to be with 10 extra stitches. So that doesn't work for the test knit because they're trying to get yardage estimates, confirm what those are. You know, they kind of get a few people knitting that size, average it out, figure out what it is, and go from there. And I was like, this doesn't work. I still love it. And honestly, I think what I'm going to do is I will eventually rip it out because it's gorgeous. I'm loving it. I love what this yarn is doing. I will alternate skeins when I rip it out. Probably like I'll add it in after I do the ribbing. But I'm going to just completely start over. And I will knit for the size D, that 48 and a half. But once I take 10 stitches out, I'll follow the pattern and it will be, you know, like a 44 inch. So it'll still be like 6 inches oversized, 6-7 inches oversized, which will still be great. And it'll be good use for this yarn. So I will knit the pattern again and knit it correctly. But that one's just in timeout for a while. So I think in the last episode, I had talked about the Gilliatt that I had gotten in. And so I decided to cast on with that. Initially, I was talking about doing stripes and actually striping it, but I was like, I couldn't imagine how that was going to be. So I'm going to color block it. It's just going to be dark purple on the bottom and light purple on the top. And then do something funky with the sleeves. Maybe like big color blocks where, you know, like dark purple, light purple, dark purple. I don't know. We'll see what we have. Technically, for size D, she recommends 1550 yards. So 1,550 yards. The Gilliatt is 250. And so I'm 50 yards short. I need to gauge this now. Honestly, I kept my same needles. This is technically a worsted weight yarn and it will bloom. And you can just see the texture on this is very different from the Dewy DK. I think it will, but I have it on a very tiny needle, which honestly for the ribbing makes it faster when it's on a small needle. Because I'm not having to like stop and push my stitches around my needle as frequently. But at least, like I said, for ribbing, it makes sense. So yeah, let's hope this works. I guess you'll find out in 2 weeks. So, I mean, I did this in about a week, right? Because a smidge more than a week since I figured it out on Friday. And then I didn't get home until late. Actually, yeah, it has been just about a week because I started middle of last week is when I cast this on. But we went out to eat a couple of times, and so I took this with me. So that worked out actually really well for like going out to eat because it's still pretty mindless, but I'm in a lighted space, so I can. Oh, yeah. so I can look at my knitting if I need to. Oh, yeah. So I only have until July 17th, and it's the 24th to get this done. So thank goodness for the spin dryer. I'll do that after I'm done with this, and so I should be able to get back to working on it tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Maybe. Depends on how humid it is in the house. But it's supposed to get warmer today, which means the air conditioner will run more, which will reduce the humidity in the house. So that works. Now let's move on to acquisitions, things coming in. First, I will say, okay, I get the mini skein set from Leading Men Fiber Arts every month. They are currently in the M's, so not quite halfway through the alphabet yet, not until we get to the N's. So we're currently in the M's, but the MOs. No money colors. Nothing that's like starts with money. That was a random thought. Anyway, I opened this one up and I said, ooh. Usually when I look at the colors, there's like one or two that I don't love, but all of these. Let's see. This color is Midsummer, so it's in the plastic, but so they're not actually shiny, but the green into the purpley pink, I'm really liking that. So I imagine this could be like an assigned pooling color. This one is Mama, I'm Coming Home. So tell me if that song's running through your head right now, or like you hear that song when you say it. All right, so here's the other one. This one is just called Moody Blue, but I love me some Moody Blues. I see Moody Blue, I think Moody Blues, and I just have Nights in White Satin in my head. I wonder if I could get a free version of like a 10-second clip and just play that. We'll see. This color here is Moonlight, which I can see is kind of a gray blue. And then this one here is Moonstone. So, yeah, I kind of like all those colors. I love red, but I don't wear it very often. I don't do much with it very often. All right. More plastic. I apologize. I am on a D-Stash server on Discord where people post things they're trying to get rid of. And usually like selling at a discount, so it can be good. Oh, interesting. This is hand-dyed in Vicksburg, Mississippi? MS? Mississippi? Yeah, because Missouri is MO, so Mississippi. And this is their Zen Luxe Fingering Weight 3-ply, 65 superwash merino, 35 bamboo. So merino bamboo makes it a bit more of a summer fabric, right? And then bamboo is inexpensive silk or more renewable. I don't know how renewable it is, but so these. Look at the sheen in that. Isn't that pretty? So I bought 2 of these and was thinking, yeah, that one's definitely been knit with and rewound. I might rewind it. Feels very tight because they're 2 different sizes. This one's much softer. So some kind of t-shirt is my plan for these. It is 874 yards between the 2 of them. So I could make something pretty cute with that. I am on a newsletter for Miss Babs, and so whenever they know that designs are coming out or like mystery knit-alongs are coming out that uses their yarns, like especially if they're putting kits together, it will be in their newsletter. And so I saw Quilt Star Mystery Knit Along. It will be a triangular shawl. So heard about that, and so I've kind of been peeking at it and watching it. They're up to clue 4, just came out, 4 out of 6. And so for clue 3, I went and was looking at people's projects in the spoiler thread. I don't need to see the finished object, but halfway through is enough for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'll do this. So I had this kit, which is a mystery gnome kit that I had bought from Miss Babs quite a while ago. And I am not going to make a gnome out of that. Do I think I will really, would use this for something? This navel? Probably not, but I love the green and the purple. And sometimes you just need that different color to make the other ones pop more, right? That's the reason why Noro is so great with their self-stripings. So I ended up calling Miss Babs and I said, okay, hey, here's what I'm trying to do, and I need help picking out colors because they know what their colors look like. They put kits together, and I said, these are the 3 that I have, and I need the yarn to make the rest of this pattern. And so, talking with them, they gave me a couple of suggestions, or they asked what I wanted to go with this, and I said blue. And so this isn't like blue, this is mahi mahi. But look how well that goes. That will go so well together. And then she asked if I wanted to do something fun or a little bit more sedate. And I said, oh, yes, let's do fun. And so we got Sparkling Sand, which I'm glad. It was looking a bit more yellow in the, in shop. It shows you images of what you bought. And it was looking more yellow, but I didn't think it was. I mean, there's a little bit of yellow, but with the speckles in it, and it has the blue, and so then that will be the background color. And I think that will make a great shawl. And my plan is I'm going to take this with me to New Hampshire in August. We're going out for show, spending about a week there, I think. And so that'll be a fun project to take. And then they always send, little swatch me's. So Wild Iris, which is in Yet, which it's a 10-yard sample of a heavy lace weight merino wool and Tusha silk. I actually learned recently the difference between the 2 silks. So Tusha silk is from India, and they let the moths or butterflies, I think it's moths, from the silkworms hatch. And so they break the strands of silk, but they don't kill the worms. They don't kill the caterpillars, right? And then I am blanking on the other type of silk, but that's the really, it's the sheen, it's the shiny, it's the ultra smooth. And that's because, well, they kill the worms or they kill the caterpillars. And so then they can take their cocoons apart as one hugely long, continuous strand of silk. It's mind-boggling how long it is. And so that's apparently part of the difference. And so that is Tusha silk. So I know my preference is maybe it's not as shiny and perfect, but I guess I prefer them not killing the bugs. That is a pretty color. The colorway is Wild Iris. And then, this could be a bookmark, but honestly, it's that ring marker. I've talked about it before. I love these ring markers with the little beads on them. Love them. So those are acquisitions. I do not have really any sewing to talk about. I've been busy working away on bags. So I don't know if you can see this back here. So that will be the lining for some bags. And then there's that one and that one. So I've been working on cutting out all the pieces. Like these will be the drawstring cases for the bags. So I've just been cutting out pieces, spending a lot of time cutting out pieces. And then I have all the patchwork strips to sew together, and I need to cut out the longer ones, and that. But one thing I am going to include here at the end are some pictures I took on June 13th. So on our way back from the Omaha area, we stopped. It was in the Highway 30 area. So it was, we left from Blair, Nebraska, and we're looking at the Loess Hills outlook. So I took some pictures. I mean, those 2 days were some gorgeous Iowa days. I mean, like, the sky was so blue, the clouds were perfectly white after the rain had passed. Everything was so green because we've been getting so much rain. We had wildflowers. They were just gorgeous. So I'm gonna include some of those photos here at the end. I mean, it's the edge of prairie. It's great farmland. It's nothing like, you know, cliff faces and seeing the ocean, but just, you know, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, I think. And so taking that time to appreciate some nature, I hope these are some good pictures that you can enjoy. And I think that is enough for today. So thank you all for joining me. I hope your knitting goes well. I hope you don't have to rip things out or redo things. Definitely makes it not as interesting. But I'll be back in 2 weeks, and I should definitely have some finished bags, and I hope even have some site to access. So for reference, they're going to be bags like this in red, white, and blue. So that's my plan for my first set of bags. Anyway, I'm rambling now. All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with me, for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. I do try to make sure that I post every other week. Eventually, I will get some of the other things I've been taking videos of put together and posted as well. And between now and then, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.